How you doing? This is Paul from Paradise Pools.
I'm Josh.
We're going to show you how to open your own swimming pool. All right, so step one of your own pool opening is you kind of want to put all the water on your cover into a puddle and set up a siphon. Right here we just got a regular old garden hose and all the water puddled into one spot, and then you get to the other end of it. So we're just gonna go over the list of tools and supplies that you're gonna need to open your pool. Number one, let's start with the chemicals that you're gonna need once it's open. 1 pound of shock and a bottle of algicide. You're gonna use the whole thing. We'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. If you have the frog system, you're gonna need a mineral pack and a torpedo pack. For tools, you should really only need 3 things: a slot head screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, and a tube of Jack's lube. And that's just for all the O-rings to make sure everything goes on nice and easy. So while you're waiting for the water to drain off your cover, you can get all the stuff for your filter out, get all the things that you put away for the winter. It should have been in 3 pieces: your frog and plumbing, the whole filter body in one big piece, and then the other section of hose. You should have the frog system set up, and it goes on this side of the filter. Then the big filter body should be in one piece, and then the other hose that'll attach to the skimmer. So first we're gonna put together the water bond, and that's just a big nut right here, down in the copper. Attach the copper to the front, just tighten it. Just gotta go finger tighten. Don't have to go crazy. Once you get that on, you're gonna go to the back, and this is where you need the slot head screwdriver, and you're just going to put it right up inside, and again you just got to put it in there and hold it just tight enough. Don't have to go crazy. So now we're going to show you how to assemble the filter body. You throw the cartridge in. If you could see the writing, make sure the writing says Hayward the right way, like you can actually read it. Then you just kind of drop it right in the hole. Sometimes when it's been out all winter, it's a little tough to get on. Just kind of wiggle it around a little bit, and that's the cartridge. So we're gonna just show you, before you put your filter on, you might wanna make sure that the O-ring has a little bit of lubrication on it, so you put it right there. We're just gonna put some Jack's lube in a couple different spots in there, just to make it slide on a little bit easier. Maybe 4 corners kind of thing. So now we're ready to put it on. So you just put it on. Sometimes you need a little bit of leverage, so you might want to put your foot over here as you spin it, so you're not turning the whole thing, and you kind of want to make it so once it's all the way on, it clicks, and you want it so this isn't pointing straight at your power. So now we're ready to assemble the frog together. First you want to put your mineral pack in. If this is the first time you've ever done it, this is a once-in-a-year thing, so that you probably didn't have to touch it last year. There's a big and a small and a slot. You can only slide it in one way. It just drops right in. You don't have to worry about screwing it down, just slides right in. And then you're ready for your torpedo pack. Kind of put a finger on the green so you don't pop the green off, and then you pull the blue tab, and there's the big and the small, and it can only drop in one way again. And then you might want to put a little bit of O-ring lubrication on the O-ring that's inside the lid, and you just put a little drop on, and then you just spin it right on. Just go hand snug again. So if you have a filter pad, hopefully you left your screw in. It's a little cheater to help you put your frog back together. You could just take that screw out, help you remember where everything was. And then you just slide that right back and line up the hole as best you can and put that screw in. You could do that first. And again, you don't have to go crazy tightening. It's just plastic into plastic. So just get it in there to hold it in place, and then you're good. Now we're gonna put the lid on the filter. You just wanna make sure your basket's been rinsed out and good. The hole's facing front. And then you could, if it's an older one, you're probably gonna need some Jack's lube on there, on that O-ring. And then you just kinda push down, twist. Sometimes it's a little tricky getting it on there, but then you just twist, and once it's twisted, that's all you gotta do. So now we're just gonna put a little bit of Jack's Lube on each of these O-rings. There should be 4 different spots. The one that's gonna go to the skimmer, the one that's gonna go to the filter, and then again at the hose, the return, there's another one. And then just next to where the frog is, where it comes out of the filter. Now we're all ready to hook up the hoses. So we're gonna do skimmer. And you put that on, you just go hand tight. Just spin it, make sure it's lined up. Sometimes it'll look like it's not threading right, but it is a ball joint, so it can spin a little bit in there. So it might, as long as it's going on easy, you're good. You just hand tight, you're good. And then remember, if you go basket to basket on your filter, that means the hoses are hooked up correctly. And you just, again, spin it until it's hand tight. And then the frog one over here is all set up. We can just spin this one. And the return. And that's it for your filter. So if when you took it apart in the winter, in the fall, you disconnected at the shutoff valve, there's a couple extra things you want to make sure. Make sure the ball didn't fall out. If it did, line up the top here with the thing so it looks like it's off. So you can see Josh is putting it in so it's off right now. Twist it, make sure it works, looks good. And then you want to make sure that you put some, there's the twist. Then you want to make sure that there's some Jack's Lube on that O-ring. That O-ring is a little tricky, so that's why we recommend just taking it off at the filter. But if you did take it off there, make sure you put lots of lubricant on there. And then you're gonna slide it on gently. And when you slide it on, make sure that O-ring doesn't pinch. It does pinch quite easy. That's why it's important to put lots of lubrication on there. And then just go gentle, kind of peek, make sure it's all good. And then you just go hand tight there. And then you could twist the shutoff to make sure it's twisting okay, to make sure it's still working. If you go too tight, you won't be able to twist the shutoff. There you go, all set. So hopefully by now all your water's off your cover. If not, now's a good time to take a snack or a coffee break. But then you need to locate the winch, the cable, and you're gonna loosen it just a little bit, just enough so you could start to take off one section at a time. And to do that, you tighten just a little, push the lever, and then you just let it unspin a little bit. Just do a little, you don't have to go crazy. All right, now it's time to take your winter cover off. If you have a deck, it's easiest to start on each side of the deck. One person here, one person there. You're just gonna kind of get it, and then you can work as a team. And you just go as far as you can. Try to keep as much of the stuff off if there's anything on the cover, and just keep walking. And you just keep working it off, gentle, little at a time. And this is where it's important, if you get all the water out, it's nice and easy at this point. If you leave some water in, it's really heavy. That's it for taking the cover off. All right, so lay it out in the yard, let the sun hit it. If you plan on storing it in a shed, make sure you let it dry, roll it really well, and put it in a big Tupperware bin so mice can't get to it. Mice love to eat covers for some reason. We're gonna show you a quick and easy way to fold up your cover. Just kind of keep going in half like a pizza. So now we can open up the water into the filter and just pull this tab right off, just like a Tupperware lid. And you undo this return plug. And then hopefully you put your return eyeball somewhere where you didn't forget. I like to keep mine in the basket right there. You just screw this in. Just kind of point it down and away from the skimmer so it's not pointing water straight back in. So this means that they're closed and no water is going to get in. So you want to make sure that's open here and open on this side so as much water can get in. You open this is where the air comes out to let all the water out, to let the water fill the tank, let all the air out of the system. Once water starts to come out here, you're going to need to close that up. You make sure no water's coming out there. And you also want to, just because it's been all winter, you just want to double check this and make sure it's snug so no water is going to be dripping out the back. So now it's time to throw the chemicals in the pool. Your 1 bottle of algicide, it's 1 quart, should be good enough for pretty much any size pool. You're just going to open it up, walk around your pool, and splash it. If you have a big deck, you walk on the deck, you do it. You could do it that way. You could stand on the deck and throw it and splash it, whatever, as long as you spread it out a little bit. This is more of a preventative, and it's going to make sure anything in there is going to die once we get it going. Now we're going to do the shock, 1 pound, and you're just going to do the same thing that you did with the algicide, just sprinkle it around. It's a quick dissolve, so you don't have to worry about it. If it drops, it's going to dissolve once it gets in there. And you're going to start to add water now as well, so that'll help to stir it a little. If you have a deck, you could go up on the deck, just give it a little throw. It does have chlorine in it, so if you get it on your clothes, or just make sure you don't get it in your face. It's where the mask is good, or glasses, one or the other. So as we just put the chemicals in, your pool's open, so you can start to add water. If you have city water and you can use your garden hose, that's fine. You want to fill it up to about that screw, 3/4 of the way up, 3/4, 3 screws. You go right there and you should be good. So if you have the wedding cake stairs, hopefully just rinse them off with a garden hose, spray them down, get them as clean as you can. Throw the sand back in, right up top. Then you're going to need to take the screws out of here. Just pull them all the way out so you can get to them, so you can drop the stairs right in place. Should be 4. And then you can almost just throw it in and let the water do the work for you. And as it's going down, you just slide it into place. And the water just fills it and slowly brings it down. And then you're just gonna put these screws right back in. And the last thing, as you're getting cleaned up and you're finding everything, put these away someplace where you're going to remember them. Don't try to put them in a good, tough hiding spot where you'll never find them. If your cover's still good, you could put them in the same Tupperware bin as that same as your cover. If not, put them on a shelf where you can see them nice and easy, because you're going to need them again next year.